That'll be $2,500. Ooh, that is too expensive. That'll be $1,000. What, $1,000? $250. Oh, you're too expensive. Just $50. Do you offer discounts? Yeah, no matter what you charge, you're always going to be too expensive for someone, even though we both know that you're totally reasonable. By the end of this video, I am gonna tell you exactly how to respond when somebody says you're too expensive. Hey. Okay, before we get started, I want someone to tell me where that's from. Do you guys have any idea where this is from? Tell me in the comments if you do. It will make me so happy. Hey y'all, my name is Tavia and I'm a birth photographer in Oklahoma City, and I train birth photographers to run successful businesses. Each and every week on this channel, I make a new video that's going to help you grow your birth photography business. So make sure and click subscribe and that little bell below so that you are notified every time there is a new video. Now get your typing fingers ready, because I have a question for you. Have you ever heard the hesitation from a potential client, you're too expensive? Have you ever heard that? Tell me in the comments below, yes or no. I'm gonna venture and guess you probably have. No matter if your price is $50, $100, $1,000, $2,000, you've probably heard from somebody that your prices are too expensive. I know how frustrating it is when people are so shocked by your totally reasonable prices, or they ask for a discount, or they ask for a deal. Or maybe people have even asked, why do you charge so much? So client hesitation number 4, what do you do if mom wants birth photography, but she thinks you're too expensive? First, I want to ask you a question. Have you ever been shocked by the price of something? Think about it. No, really, think about it for a second. Have you ever heard the price for something that you wanted to buy and been really, really shocked? Maybe you have even said that something was too expensive. I can think of one time in particular where I was shoe shopping and I saw these really cute shoes recently. I picked them up, turned them over, and they were $168. And I thought, absolutely not. I'm not paying that much money. That's way too expensive. So was it really too expensive, or did I just not want it badly enough? Think about that for yourself. If you've ever thought that something's too expensive, was it really too expensive, or did you just not want it badly enough? This is kind of a silly example, but what if there had been $100 bill stuck in that shoe? All of a sudden, those shoes wouldn't seem so expensive. So it's the value that people see in what you're offering that determines whether or not they think it's too expensive. Have you ever asked for a reasonably priced electrician or a car mechanic or an accountant that doesn't charge an arm and a leg? I don't know about you, that drives me nuts when people say that they don't charge an arm and a leg. But maybe you have asked for a reasonably priced car mechanic. What's going on in your mind when you're thinking that? What were your intentions? Likely your intentions were not to be rude or hurtful. Think about it in your own mind. What was going on in your head when you were thinking that you wanted to find a reasonably priced XYZ? The point of this little part of it is I just want you to get in their head and think a little bit about what they're thinking about and how their mind is when they're thinking, I want a reasonably priced birth photographer. Now that we're in their mind a little bit, I want you to help them understand why it's so expensive without being defensive. Without being defensive.
Without being defensive.
This is really, really key, because I oftentimes see photographers who will make entire blog posts or videos like outlining their expenses and their cost of doing business and how much they're paying in rent and all this stuff to say, this is why I charge what I charge, because I'm paying this much for this and this much for my new camera. And okay, that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. It puts a bad taste in your potential clients' mouths. I beg you to please stop doing that. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about your expenses. They just don't. They want to know what's in it for them. So I do want you to kind of help them understand why it's so expensive without becoming defensive. That's a huge, huge piece of it. So instead of negatively talking about why it's so expensive, AKA laying out your expenses line by line, focus on the positives. What are they getting? They're getting your on-call time. They're getting your availability from 38 weeks until delivery. They're getting unlimited time at your birth. All of those things are benefits and positive things as to why it's so expensive. That will help them understand the price tag. Another thing to include is your experience. If you have experience photographing home birth or twin birth or hospital birth or natural birth, make sure that people know that you're experienced photographing these types of births. So in preparation for this video, I Googled photographer too expensive just to see what popped up. And guys, there were hundreds and hundreds of blog posts written by photographers trying to justify their prices by literally saying, here are my expenses. I'm drilling this home because it's important. I don't want you guys to be complaining when whenever it comes to defending your prices. I want you to present the benefits of hiring you as a reason to explain why you're expensive. So hopefully I think I've drilled that point home, but I do not want you guys to become defensive whenever it comes to explaining your pricing. Here is exactly what I say when a mom tells me she thinks that birth photography is too expensive. So if I have a potential client that emails me and then replies and says, it's just not in the budget, birth photography is too expensive, this is exactly what I say to her. I understand birth photography isn't for everyone. My packages include my on-call time from 37 weeks until you deliver, as well as my experience photographing over 100 births. I'm a fly on the wall during your birth and know how to capture all those emotions and quick moments that happen in such a special day. I do offer payment plans, so if that would help birth photography fit into your budget, please let me know. Congratulations again on your new little one. Do you see how pleasant that sounds and how it's really explaining the benefits of birth photography without complaining about my expenses? And you're welcome to use that yourself. That's literally exactly what I say to somebody who replies and says that they feel like birth photography is too expensive. Now, they don't always respond and say, okay, now I want to book you, but they do sometimes. It points out to them that I offer payment plans and all the time that goes into birth photography. So feel free to take that, adapt it as your own, and send it to people who say that to you. So really quick, I want to make sure that you guys know about my totally free training. If you need help marketing your birth photography business and you don't know where to start, there is a link in the bio below. I am going to lay out my exact 7-step marketing system to get your calendar fully booked by specializing in birth photography. So if that's something you need help with, click that link below to head over to the free training. Okay, the third thing to do if a mom tells you that she wants birth photography, but it's too expensive, I want you to do the work on the front end, attracting your ideal client. So what does that mean? First of all, I want you to build a relationship with your followers. A relationship is a two-way street. It's not just social media, you're asking for comments. It's you leaving comments. It's you engaging with people and interacting with people and building a relationship. Do they see your face online? Do you share things that people interact with? Are you replying to people's posts and their comments and interacting authentically? Think of this like dating. How would you get to know someone and build that relationship? I want you to check out a book called Tribes by Seth Godin. It's a really, really good book all about how to create a group of your people, how to create a tribe of people who like what you like and create super fans. And are you making it known that you're a birth photographer or a jack of all trades? If someone goes to your website, what is the first image they see? If you want to specialize in birth photography, it needs to be a birth image. How about social media? If I were to click over to your social media account right now, would I see multiple birth photos? If you want to be a birth photographer, I want you showing lots of birth images and I want you to specialize in birth photography. By specializing in birth photography and really niching down, you're going to attract your ideal client. The fourth thing to do, if you have a client who wants birth photography but they say it's too expensive, I want you to remember that people have the ability to pay for what's important to them. If someone says you're too expensive, it's kind of people's default way of saying, I don't really want that. Because I guarantee you people are paying rent, they're paying their mortgage, they're paying for their car payment, they're paying for groceries, they're paying for an iPhone, they're paying for new clothes and new shoes for their kids, they're paying for vacations, they're paying to have Blue Apron deliver grocery meals to them. Like, people will figure out how to pay for what they want. And so it's up to us to show them the value of birth photography and that it is truly a once in a lifetime event that they will not get a do-over for. So honestly, people will either figure out a way to pay for it or they won't. The only thing you can do is show up like we've talked about today and really, really show the value as much and as often as you possibly can. Even after all this, there are still people who just straight up will not pay your prices, and that is okay. You have to learn to let those people go. Not every single client is your client. Make sure to click that like button below if you dig this video and click subscribe and that little bell so that you're notified every time I post a new video, which is every Friday, and those videos are going to help you grow your birth photography business. And remember, if you love birth photography, you were made to be a birth photographer. So you owe it to yourself to get out there and make it happen. Have a great week.